Hello, everyone, and welcome in to another Underdog Battle Royale stream. I am joined today by some people who know absolutely no ball, but they do know the spreadsheets. The idea here, as always, with Davis Mattek and Endgame Syndicate is I am going to pretend to be the ball knower, and Brian Hooper and Dan, Nerdy Tenor from Endgame Syndicate, are here. Dan, explain, because let's be honest, if I tried to explain it, I would lead people astray. Explain what we are about to do here, drafting some battle royales on Underdog.
Well, I have a prototype of a tool that tries to figure out how to draft. It's very ambitious because it's a very big problem. You have three different levels of things you want to simulate. You need to simulate the games, so what the athletes do. Then you need to simulate the drafts, what the players in the draft are going to do, and then you need to simulate the contest, so all the lineups in the battle royale against each other. So it's still a work in progress, but for smaller games, we found out some stuff, and I have just enough to get it sort of running on these huge battle royales. So we got a couple ways we can do this. I think I could use it as sort of an advisor role or like a check on what you're doing, and then we can discuss. Or we could just YOLO it and just do whatever the hell it says. I think it might be a little too slow to do everything live in this huge battle royale because it's 67,000 entries. So it might be. Davis, I think you're muted.
I am muted. We should run it as a check then, right? That should be that. We should do it. We should do a draft, and then we should basically say, all right, Davis, you did this draft, and you either played optimally or you played suboptimally. I think that is the right way to do it, because that feels a little bit easier for your code, and also probably feels like the right way to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So, like I would assume that's going to lead to better results, is basically like double checking what I think is good or not good.
Right. And I think, I think one of the punchlines for this tool that I'm creating is that, like, I think for the very largest contests, it's likely to be the least interesting. And the reason for that is, in a huge contest, you have so many options available to you that it's less about the game theory than it is about ownership and the projections, like getting to teams that people do not have, because there's, as you well know, like huge swaths of the player pool that are basically projected the same. And so you don't need a tool to tell you that, like, if nobody's getting to this guy that's about as good as this other guy that everyone's drafting, you should just be getting him a lot. Where the tool really gets kind of cool is these really small drafts where you have lots of positional scarcity. Then it can really sort of like solve, like, if I do this, but then he does that, and then he does this other thing, like those kinds of questions. So we might, if not on this stream, on another one, do like a small slate, like the 2-gamer that's coming.
We can run a couple of these and see what the tool says. Then we can do a prime time Palooza. I believe they've already filled like 3 iterations of that contest. So
yeah, there's a ton of action on those. And those are sort of interesting to talk through from just a pure game theory standpoint here. Let me maximize this so I can type in what everybody is doing.
I can give you one more zoom in. So we've got Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill. So we're probably going to take Justin Jefferson. You can pencil in Justin Jefferson likely as our selection.
So we've got the 3. Okay.
We've got the 4. The first 3 picks were Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, and I'm going to take Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
And so then that immediately sets us up to start thinking about, do we try and aim to have our last pick be Justin Jefferson's quarterback, who does not project very well, and is not going to be owned at all outside of Jefferson teams? That adds an extra wrinkle to it. There will be this is a 67,000 entry contest. I would take the under on 0.5 Sam Darnold teams without Justin Jefferson. Like, maybe there's a random TJ Hawkins, or not TJ Hawkins, Jordan Addison team. My preference with this next pick is to take one of the two highly projected tight ends, Kincaid or McBride. The ETR team put together some sims, and they had the tight ends very high in their simulated optimal probabilities. Which makes sense because these are Kincaid, McBride, Ingram, and Pitts, I believe, are the only players projected above 9 points at the position.
Right.
So I'm going to do Trey McBride.
I like it. Yeah, I found tight ends being drafted relatively early in this one too. One thing that I found a little different is it wasn't as horny for Kincaid as the field seems to be, and I don't know why that is.
Well,
I mean, it was drafting it. It just wasn't always getting to it first. Like sometimes it was passing on it and grabbing one of the other ones up there. Probably combinations, I would guess.
I was going to say my supposition would be that particularly Kyler and Kincaid, Allen and Kincaid, Cook and Kincaid, things like that. I guess not Cook and Kincaid. Cook and Kincaid would be bad, but yeah, it would be this. Is that the Allen Kincaid pairing is happening all the time? That might be 5% of the, not 5%, probably 3% of the total pool or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. My thought with this pick then would be we either take Stroud to set up one of his two wide receivers who is not owned at 100% frequency, Diggs or Dell, as opposed to taking the highest projected running back, because what we'll actually want to do is probably scroll for the running back. What does the tool think?
Well, I'll run it and let you know in a minute. It won't be in time for the pick, but
what do you think, Brian?
I have no idea what the tool will say.
My guess is going to be it's going to like Stroud.
Okay,
but that's just my guess.
That matches with my vibes-based analysis, as Crutches say. My vibes-based analysis is the optimal way to play Battle Royale in Week 1 is to frequently try and get Stroud with one of his three wide receivers matched with at least one guy who is totally a scroll the F down, like a guy who gets drafted less than 10% of the time. That is my vibes-based thought.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little too much. Because isn't like what was the ownership we had for
16% is the most a guy can be owned.
No, not that. I meant total ownership for the Houston wide receivers.
Oh, for Diggs and Dell. I mean, also I've noticed as the contest has continued to fill, as it's gotten, because Brian, we did that stream 2 days ago. They get drafted more often.
Yeah.
Diggs and Dell have been getting drafted a little bit more often.
All right, well then never mind. The what Easy was asking though, I think will be pretty cool from the tool. Dan, is if
I don't have the query capability yet, but that is definitely on the to-do list.
It would be equilibrium though,
right.
Pairing, not the field. Easy.
All right. So my thought here is that we take Cook as the correlated piece to McBride. But that sets us up. I mean, this is all 100% owned, right? Or 16% owned, 100% drafted.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our guys is going to be, call it 80% drafted. So it sets up that with the final selection, we really have to go all like a guy who gets completely undrafted. The tool is effectively an attempt to simulate what you should be doing in Battle Royale. It's not fast enough yet to tell us basically what we should do as we are on the clock, but it is going to do a post analysis of if I'm stupid or if I actually am the greatest brain player in the history of Battle Royale. I'm leaning the latter. I'm leaning that I might actually be the great at this, that I might be kind of a savant, but we're going to find out.
Well, yeah, we'll see. So we'll find something out. Or we'll find out that my tool sucks. That could be always a
That could be. I mean, that could be totally possible.
yeah.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
So we're gonna take a Texans wide receiver next. So we're gonna have Stroud, one of his wide receivers, Jefferson as the naked player, and then Cook and McBride as slight correlations. I think I've taken Diggs a little bit more often, so I'm just gonna do Dell. I actually just did the week 1 DFS podcast, and some of the ball knowers think the matchup is better for Dell than Diggs. So you got file that one away, guys, for your Sims you're running later.
Can you bring up your the board real quick for me?
Yes.
Thank you. Scroll down. Whoop.
This is the
might want to screenshot that in a second so I can recreate everything.
I can leave it up, right?
Yeah, but
does
this one go away? One of them close.
No, the big one won't go away.
Oh, okay, very good. All right, we'll just leave that there.
This is too big brain for Battle Royale. I think going to guys who project for like 5 points or less than that. There is an Underdog code under the logo. Promo code Davis. Here, I'll switch the banner. Promo code Davis gets you $1,000 first time deposit bonus match. A link to that is in the description of this podcast. It'll take you right there. Crutches is saying it'll close out, so I guess I should take a screenshot. Okay. Brian, you deep into your week 1 analysis. Are you going to tell me your favorite scroll the F down running back?
I just got my stuff working yesterday after 3 hours. So
all right, I'm gonna do a truly disgusting scroll that is not getting clicked. I'm gonna take Devin Singletary. He's the correlated piece to Justin Jefferson. I'm gonna guess Singletary gets drafted. I don't know, 30% of these, maybe 40% of these. So 6-man team: Justin Jefferson, Trey McBride, CJ Stroud, James Cook, Tank Dell, and Devin Singletary. I think that is a pretty gosh darn cromulent team. Now, this is good information. So this is good information to know what type of teams you'll be up against. He's getting clicked if you're using the ETR stuff.
Who is?
That Devin Singletary.
Yeah. So, we talked about him on the first stream.
So that would, in my opinion, that would make him actually a terrible click because you're mostly going to be getting him against other good teams, people using good information. So actually, that was bad. I changed my review of this from a cromulent team to probably a bad team now.
And then what's the plan? Then we're going to review this, Dan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just start typing in the picks so I can get it running.
This is absolutely hilarious. Dan, your keyboard like literally does make you sound like a robot right now. Like you are full on in the Matrix.
Fair enough.
Let's see.
How stay in your lane were the other guys in the draft?
That's what I was looking at. So badgeless guy did not stay in his lane at all. He took Allen and then didn't pair him with anyone. I guess I can't see the last pick, but it's probably a Bills wide receiver. But even if it's not, like uncorrelated Pittman, Ingram with Travis Etienne, that is that can't possibly be good. That's almost for sure bad. This drafter completely stayed in his lane. Tyreek and Tua took Nico right at cost. These are good picks right here. Kate Otten to scroll the F down. CD, A-Chain, Waddle. A-Chain and Waddle is not a stay in your lane. That's like the one thing that everyone has said has been that basically 2 teammates, like he took Aaron Jones. So that guy did not stay in his lane at all. That guy was just vibing. What effectively everyone has said is that 2 teammates together, because you're really just trying to get the nuts, it's very hard. It's very, very hard to do.
Mm-hmm. So I heard you guys. I reviewed some of what you guys did on your last draft, and you were talking about stacking with more than one receiver.
Yeah.
So I made some updates to my tool, and the number has come down. So I found some results that I thought were interesting, but they're preliminary, so I wouldn't take them too seriously. But but I think the general shape is right. And so in this contest, it was doing like a couple of pieces with your quarterback on the same team about 15% of the time. And it was doing it more the smaller the contest was. And
that completely tracks. That's
that
like how Leone wins the Thunderdome all the time. Is like taking like 4 guys from a team, one of them busts, but the team scores 35 points or whatever.
Right, and I haven't made a huge study of it in NFL, but in baseball, which is a similar dynamic with stacking, at equilibrium, you do these 5-3 and 5-2 stacks like 100% of the time in a 100-man contest, basically, because it's just not worth it. The odds of picking all the random pieces that happen to go off are not worth, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. But in a huge 30,000 man contest, you might actually need some random one-offs. So things, less stacking is more.
Yeah, you need Kirk Neuenhuis's 3 home run game, even if the Mets only score 5 runs.
Anyway, I'm not confident in the number that I gave you, but the shape seems correct. It's I don't want to go too down the rabbit hole of why I think that might not be converged yet in my code. But I do have enough to start playing, so I'm just gonna start reviewing this this draft here.
Please do tell me if I know ball or if my ball is at an all-time low.
A couple of caveats. This is still research code, so it could be wrong in places. The other thing is it's such a huge contest that it takes a really long time to have any sort of confidence in the result. For your first pick, it's really interesting. It's really wanting to take it's really wanting to do quarterbacks and running backs at this point, which I thought was kind of surprising. So running backs I kind of get. But it wasn't that, like, Jefferson is up there. So of the running backs, it likes the obvious pieces.
It wanted Jonathan Taylor or Bijan Robinson or CJ Stroud.
Yeah, or Stroud, or it even was interested in Richardson. Also, disclosure, I don't have my multi-sim set up for this yet. So this is Cardi stuff I'm looking at right now. So it's gonna have whatever Cardi's projection picks are in it, just FYI. But I think your pick is probably fine. I wouldn't take my numbers too seriously. So I'm just gonna take that and then move to the next pick. So then I want Jamar, and then I want Robinson and Jonathan.
I mean, Cardi stuff is what I'll be drafting off of anyways. That's what I use the blitz for NFL DFS, so that is helpful. I wonder, I mean, this is I guess this isn't ball knowing, but there's a little bit of an element of knowing you don't have to take, like, the sim likes Richardson there, but knowing that you don't have to take him there, like knowing that you'll frequently be able to get Richardson later. So even if the sim wants it, I mean, it's way above my head of being like, there's not another player that projects like Justin Jefferson at pick 20, but you can get Richardson at pick 20.
Right. Yeah, no, that's sort of like no draft, right?
No draft, yeah.
No draft, right? So you've got this option. This is a great way to improve your EV. You've got a really attractive option, and you're pretty sure you don't have to spend any draft capital because you can get it next round or the round after because people are taking it. So this next one you did McBride.
That one I'm gonna guess it doesn't like because the McBride projection that I've seen is not in line with his positional allocation. The field is essentially saying we think McBride scores more points than the projections.
It doesn't hate it. It's right up there. Again, it still wants. It's interesting. Now it still wants Richardson because it thinks it's being picked late. So we're just going to ignore that. It's interesting that it likes some quarterbacks up here. I'm not sure if I really believe that because of what you said. But if we ignore those, yeah, it's got a couple receivers, a couple backs, and then it's got Trey McBride up there.
Does it Does it want Richardson with Michael Pittman or with his teammate?
Probably does. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be my guess. But let's move on. Let's take it. Okay, there's McBride. Now what happens?
So it's definitely gonna like my next pick. Then because if it wants the quarterbacks, then it maybe won't want Richardson, but it will want Stroud.
Yeah. And I want Waddle. Yeah, it's definitely it's horny for quarterbacks at this third pick.
It's horny for quarterbacks, so we did reward it. Yes. We did reward him.
Yeah.
Which QBs does it like?
Well, I need to let it cook a little more.
It's
thinking.
I know for a fact that Cardi is going to have I just did the week 1 stuff, and I know for a fact his stuff has a big hard on for Richardson. That game is in a dome. Neither the defenses are particularly good. It's the second highest total of the main slate. But Cardi always there's an extra little bit if you're running Cardi stuff with the dome. I'm very curious when we get there what it thinks of the James Cook Trey McBride correlation, or if it does anything with it. If that is basically non-material to the sim.
So quarterback 6 it's got a lot. Oh, I'm gonna ignore that one. That one I don't trust. Richardson, Murray. It's got some Jones. It's got Stroud in there. Yeah.
It likes Daniel Jones or Aaron Jones.
I don't know why Daniel Jones appeared like 5th here. It's probably an ownership thing. Oh no, it just dropped down again. So now it's Murray, Richardson, Stroud are the top 3 right now. It's still
games are dead, John. His tool's telling you to take Daniel Jones in Battle Royale. The games are dead. You can't win.
All right, so you took Stroud. Let's keep going. Yeah, I think for this big of a contest, my tool is just not able to get enough data to figure enough out yet to be really confident. So okay. I think so
we've got a couple more weeks of being able to just snowball and be able to beat the field.
All right, on your 4th pick, it is James Cook is right up there.
All right.
Aaron Jones, Rashad White are the top. Those 3 are the top 3 at the moment.
It's so that's interesting.
It also likes Pittman. So right now it's saying Jones, Pittman, and White is the top 3.
That is that's basically the Cardi factor. That's the Cardi stuff leaking in of just being really high on that game. Now, here is an interesting thing. I'm wondering if it's picking up on McBride and Cook, or if it just likes Cook because he's projected for a good amount of points right there. Are you able to parse that out?
Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. My guess is that so there's multiple factors, right? There's projection, and there's the combos, and then there's the correlation, right? My guess is that the small correlations are going to be the least of these, but I'm just guessing. Okay. But so you took Mr. Cook.
Took Mr. Cook.
And then it went Marvin Harrison. And then Kamara, Olave.
It wanted Marvin Harrison with Trey McBride.
Oh no! I'm just typing in the next guys.
Because my gut would be, my gut is that I don't know if Marvin Harrison is like a great BR play this week, but my gut would be is that McBride and Marvin Harrison might be the most negatively correlated teammates in the whole field. I think there's like no shot that that they're positively correlated this week. Look, famous last words or whatever. This is a good question. Are you guys planning on is the tool going to simulate the field / will the combos be available?
I don't know. First things first, I need to get something that's like good enough that I think it's sound. So I still have a long way to go. But that would be interesting to try and predict the field picks and then add that in and see what you should do against those teams.
is this any version of this going to be available on Endgame Syndicate, or are we just vibing?
We don't know yet. Maybe if it's good enough, I'd like to if it's good enough. But I don't want to promise anything and then discover that it sucks and then not provide it. So
okay, do you want to try and do a primetime Palooza?
yeah, we can do that. I'm on your 5th pick here, and it likes
Okay.
Tank Devil, so it's got.
So it knows.
It slightly wanted you to take running backs first, probably because, well, let's see.
Well,
going to get taken?
it definitely knows that running backs in this scoring system are just going to be the better flex option because you have the option of the wide receiver or the running back, and in this size of contest, 67,000 people, it'd be different. I think it'd be much different if this was Millionaire Maker sized. Like if we could do, if we did 300,000 entrants for a BR, you'd probably just for like ownership and randomness reasons, you'd probably prefer the SIMS of the wide receivers. But 67,000 people, 67,000 entrants, you running backs just project for like a lot more points.
Right, but here it's probably just noise because only one more running back can be taken, right? Because the guy in the 6 has 2 already, and the guy on your right has 1. So it might just be. I think it's probably just sim noise, honestly.
Okay.
You're going to take another running back according to the tool, one way or the other. So let's take Mr. Dill, which we do, and then it goes Pitts, and then Njoku, and then it goes Cousins. He's still playing, and then just kidding. And then, so let's see what it thinks of your pick here. It's probably so. Oh, it's not that bad. You thought this was just a straight punt, huh?
Yeah, I think it was a straight punt because of what was revealed to me after, which is that the very good drafters in this field, the people using establish the run stuff, are gonna be taking him. So like I would prefer to be leveraging against ETR picks if like not because I think they're bad, but because the opposite, because I think they're good. Because I think the ETR stuff looked good to me. I looked at it last night and I was like, yeah, if people use this, they would probably be building good lineups. So I kind of don't want to be sharing their player takes.
Sure. Well, let's see which. Yeah, so it is in there, but it likes a lot of things better.
Yeah.
What is it like?
Mixon, White, Ford, Connor, Moss, Stevenson.
White got picked.
Yeah.
White got picked one before.
Oh,
yeah, Moss.
Sorry. No. Yeah. No, you're right. Sorry, excuse me. And then it even thought another receiver, a receiver or two were viable too.
Who?
It thought Diggs. It thought DJ Moore maybe in there. Neighbors was in there. Yeah. But
Okay.
let me just see, like, how do you compare?
I think a useful addition would be the equilibrium ownership.
Sure.
That would almost be the most useful of like instead, like it doesn't even need to be real-time assistance, but just like basically how often if I'm doing 150 drafts, how often should I be taking Tank Dell? How often should the field be taking?
That's what it would be, yeah.
Well, yes. I do have those numbers from my tool, but I'm scared to share them in case they're terrible.
Well, it's a beta. It's a beta.
It's a beta. Top Shot's still in beta, dude. It's fine.
The beta is optimistic. But I can give you those numbers.
Alpha?
Yeah, I was gonna say alpha's before beta and testing, right?
All right. So I can tell you if you give me a name, I'll tell you how often it was drafted.
Tell me Devin Singletary. That is a very interesting one.
13% of drafts.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I was gonna say that seems directionally accurate. What about let's give it a lock then and see what it says. Okay. Give me what does it say for Bijan Robinson?
100%.
Okay. What about James Cook?
James Cook, 22.7%.
So that right there, I mean, I'm not, it's an alpha, so I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, but that's very interesting because that might be his Nash equilibrium or whatever.
Or not.
Such a fraud for me saying that. It's like, I don't know what a fucking Nash equilibrium is,
I'll
but
take it.
but I bet his drafted rate in 6-man drafts is above 90%, maybe 85%. But I bet he goes. That might be high, but I guarantee it's at least double what your numbers just said.
Interesting. Let me just see.
Which is good actually.
Why is that exactly?
If you get to a point where you're happy with the results, you want the projected ownership to be different than the equilibrium ownership.
That's really interesting. Yeah, that of course that's right. I'm just looking. Sorry, I'm doing too many things at once here. I'm just looking at the running back curve, like the projection curve, and like, I mean, it's whatever Cardi thinks right now is what I have, but it's pretty flat down there. So it makes sense to me that it would not be 90% if you believe his numbers, right? Because it's not. I mean, I'm looking at these numbers for running backs down the curve on here. So
yeah, what is it? Yeah, what is it like around him?
So if you take FanDuel projections, which are pretty close to Underdog, So Cook,
that's what I've been using.
This is Cook is 12-2. Then you've got Javonte Williams 12. I'll just round. Singletary 12, Moss 12, Stevenson 11, Jerome Ford 11, Najee Harris 11. I mean, there's a lot right there. So like, why would you just jam this guy?
How much? What's his projection compared, Davis?
I believe off the top of my head, he is projected for 13-ish FanDuel points, and I bet Singletary's projected for like 12.3.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's really, one, projections are going to be kind of flat because it's Thursday and they haven't been fully tweaked yet.
Sure.
2, it's going to be flat because it's week 1 and people are just not making huge stands. Like they're closer to what their preseason projections were, kind of what guys have had built in their seasonal models. And there'll be, we get to week 4 in BR, we are going to have a much better idea of who the best plays are. Projections are going to be better.
Right.
At that point.
But this is all theoretical anyways.
Right. Yeah. I think looking at the overall percentage drafted numbers at this point for such a big contest is more likely to reveal useful information than the actual picks it comes up with, because it's going to be so noisy on a per draft level right now. But this field, I've done how many do I have? I've got like 10,000 drafts making up this pool. So even if there's a lot of noise in each one, hopefully the general percentages are actually roughly where you would expect them to be.
If you have 13 point projected for Cook and 12 for Mixon or whatever, those numbers sound right to me. 28% and 13% owned by the field.
Yeah.
Now they might be wrong, Davis. Like maybe he should be 15 or something.
Right.
And then, but then it would, if it knew that, it would adjust. Yeah, I think the important thing is comparing it to field.
Right.
So you need a solid field estimate.
It just seems like the biggest mistake you're going to see in a contest like this is people concentrating ownership around players where there's a very large number of players in the same relative projection range, right?
Yeah.
It's that whole thing we talked about on the endgame stream we did, Brian, where you think about players in tiers. Like, if you've got a large number of players in the same tier, same position, same rough projection, like they should be roughly equally owned. And if everybody's just slamming one guy in that group, like it's just massively plus EV not to do that. Because you get this huge ownership bonus to your EV not doing that.
So like if Cooks is 94% owned or Cook is 94% owned, then you almost certainly would want to fade.
Right, or at least get under that number, right?
Right.
If you believe that.
This is big. Is the other factor is that even as we get new information, even as I mean, look, there are people. I'm going to try and max this contest, right? I'm going to try and draft 150 in this contest, and I know this. I'm literally sitting with a guy who built a sim for this, who's telling me James Cook should only be drafted roughly, not roughly 25%, right? And I'm going to go do one of these. I'm going to go let my dog out when we get done here. And I'm going to do one of these. And I'm going to have a pick in the 4th round. And I'm just going to click James Cook. Like, it's just kind of, there's such an anchoring effect to the literal way that the players are listed inside your app that it causes you to play suboptimally for real.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why the equilibrium number is so important. If you can get it right, because then you can easily identify those guys.
Right.
Yeah,
But even just a rough heuristic, like we might. So even in worst case, my tool is not good enough to run live. Like, we can still learn a lot from it by letting it kick on these slates and just getting some general principles about, like, here's like a rough projection range in the typical curve of, let's say, running backs, where you can basically treat all the running backs within X points of each other in this range as the same. Look at ownership and just get off of those and get onto these other guys. Like, so
before we do a primetime palooza, I'm gonna do another one, and I will try and do this a little bit more, and then we will switch. I mean, these literally take like 5. These literally take like 5
take
minutes.
no time. Yeah.
Is there an undrafted running back? I mean, there are a couple guys. The first one that comes to mind to me is Zach Moss. Zach Moss is probably like 5% drafted or something like that in these. And I'm going to, like, if I told Cardi, I think he gets 70% of the carries instead of 50% of the carries, he would project the same as James Cook or maybe better, honestly. He's not, I mean, Chuba Hubbard, great example. You guys go run your sims on Sunday morning. You're going to get a bunch of Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard is a great salary cap NFL DFS play. Can't possibly be that bad of a play in a non-salary cap world. Just wouldn't really make any sense for him to be awful in this, but good in that.
Yeah, I'm getting 30% of them, 30% of drafts with him.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, he's no shot. Is he 30% drafted in these?
Yeah,
right.
It's the same principle, right? He's in that range of not that different from the other guys.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the 3rd pick.
Oh, I got to start this next one.
I don't remember what it told me to do, but it told me it wanted Richardson. I'm gonna immediately disregard that. I will try and get Richardson on this one.
All right.
It wanted to RB in the 1st round, I thought.
There's a lot of noise, so I mean, whatever you want to do.
You know, that also makes sense, Dan, that it wants an RB in the 1st round if it thinks that end tier is all a bunch of 12
all the same
old guys.
Yep. Okay,
Right.
so I'm gonna take
the stud early.
So I'm gonna take Bijan then. By the way, guys, don't leave this stream right now, but I did just publish as a video the week 1 NFL DFS video with Jacob. So maybe put it on in the background and just give me the free click. But we did that as a video, not as a live stream. Just doing a little bit of testing here on YouTube. I'm running the Sims on YouTube in real time.
Well, when we get to the small game, I'm a little more confident that my stuff is decent because it's so much smaller. It's a much more tractable problem.
Okay.
So, and it's
Brian,
much more about the game theory.
Do you remember what it wanted me to do
this
next?
One
it wanted a quarterback.
A quarterback, I think. Yeah.
Let me take a look and see.
Or it like Jefferson too. I don't know if there's any wide receivers left.
It's Nico. Nico is the best. I mean, he's my favorite ball-knowing play of the slate.
I think it was wide receivers or quarterbacks. Like, so one of those.
Okay, let's do. I mean, this is a very chalky start, but
Nico,
we can fix that because we're going to take Chuba Hubbard. The thing I love about doing these BRs is I don't even care if I get sniped because they're probably sniping a shitty pick for me. They're probably sniping an overdrafted crappy pick away from me. So I could like if you get sniped in a BR, that just means you get to do a weirdo team that probably sims out as plus EV.
Right. Yeah. We did our stream. We were getting sniped on Bears double stacks. Remember,
Yeah,
Dave?
it's yes, we got sniped twice on it, and it's like, yeah,
twice
you
on
do
Bears.
that.
We were
So
trying.
I did.
For a bit, we were doing Bear stacks, and they still sniped us.
I would be curious. The furthest I've scrolled down for a stack is basically two guys who are undrafted. The Chargers. I did Justin Herbert and Lad McConkey, who are like less than 5% drafted. Neither of those guys project very well. I'm very curious if scrolling that far is totally suboptimal. If it's you're just giving up way too many points in a 67,000 person contest or whatever.
Yeah.
It's interesting because so I found an effect in some of my toys, which makes sense, but where as this is like a elastic effect around projection, where if you give up a projection early, then it like snaps back later and wants to get chalkier, and the reverse is true. Like, so there's like this natural pull wherever you
that
are.
Completely makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That completely makes sense. That you don't want to go. You don't want a team of 6 undrafted guys because
Right,
you are just giving up a billion points. You know.
Right. Yeah. But in a contest this large with so many viable options, like you don't have to give up that much projection because there's just so many. There's so many freaking choices. Like, it's not necessary, in my opinion.
All right, I'm gonna do Chuba Hubbard. So there we go. We went totally off the board. See, I think Ryan, this is honestly the wrong way to view these contests. I think ADP is really. I think you should almost entirely throw it out, and I think you should focus much more on projected points and how often players get drafted. I guess the ADP is useful for knowing how often players get drafted. I'm not certain how useful it is for guiding what you should do with your teams. In fact, it's probably more harmful than good. Brian, do you remember what it said about Ingram? Did it like Ingram?
I don't remember.
I think Ingram is fine.
Okay. Ingram is.
Wait, what does the board look like? Can I see who's left?
Yes, here.
Sorry.
This is it's loading the board view.
Oh yeah, especially since there are 2 guys who need to take one coming up.
Yeah.
And I think
Okay.
that makes me think.
So we have
bad.
4 100% owned guys and 1 scroll the F down. Just chat GPT to your model. Does that mean we take another scroll the F down guy next for our, we need 1 more wide receiver. How far should we scroll?
I don't know.
Yes, this is basically the question is, Do you scroll down once or do you scroll down twice?
Well,
it depends how much it costs you. It depends how much it costs you. Oh wait, you're up, Davis.
All right. My gut is that it's another scroll. My gut is that it's another pretty big scroll based on we have really popular combinations with Nico and Stroud, Ingram, and then Bijan. I think I'm gonna do Jackson Smith and Jigba, like an uncorrelated total scroll down. He's $4,900 on DraftKings. It's more of a PPR guy. That is a big scroll.
All right, I'm going to start running my.
This is a very good point by Crutches. It actually is probably so dependent on the week. This is a huge slate. So this slate that we're doing right now is what is there? 10 games, 11 games, with 12. A bunch of 12 games.
That's something.
12
crazy.
Games with no real injuries.
Yeah.
A bunch of teams with high totals. But once we get to the
screenshot
buys,
that. Did you grab a screenshot of that?
It'll stay up.
Oh, sweet.
And it'll refresh and it'll give you Jake Ferguson as the final pick. What sim or opto does Nerdy Tenor use? Hand built, baby. An artisanal sim and optimizer.
Just my bespoke simulation. Yeah.
Yes.
It's bespoke. All right, let me start this computing. So I'm not gonna bother with the first pick. It's got to be in there. So let's just.
Sure.
I'm gonna blast on through. Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Oops. Lamb. Bijan. Justin Jefferson. Jonathan.
I would be curious if this could even be built or if this could even tell us. But like, I wonder if you should just take Tyreek every time, or if there's some value in like mixing it up. Like,
It did not like mixing. It just always took Tyreek.
That is not to give away behind the paywall, but I think ETR has Tyreek like 35% being in the optimal, like just like 35% of the time. All else, like just you don't even need any other information. Just like 35% of the time, you just win with Tyreek.
Another way, he's just always under owned.
Right. It's that 16% principle.
That's it.
It's that there's only 16. He's only 16% owned because you can only take him once.
Yep. This is negatively correlated. Najee and Bijan are like negatively correlated in this because they take away possessions. Like
should I run that? I have that info. Should I do that really quick?
What info?
The correlation between teammates.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Why not? I'll do that while you guys are doing this.
And then this is how we get everyone to subscribe to the Endgame Syndicate YouTube, man.
Exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. We're streaming on my channel, Davis's channel, and Endgame. So if you guys haven't subbed to our new Endgame channel, please do that. Is there a link somewhere, Davis, for Endgame?
Yes. Yeah. In the description of all of this, there's a link directly to endgamesyndicate.com.
Oh, what about Endgame YouTube? Here, I'll put it in the chat.
No, but you can edit it right on your own channels if you'd like.
So
if you
go sub here. I put it in the chat.
There you go.
All right, I'm looking here, and it's got wide receivers up there for pick 2. So it's got Nico's in there, Pittman is in there because Cardi loves Pittman.
This is neither here nor there, but actually, if you just drafted off Cardi shit off his projections, you would naturally get weirder than the field. Like if you just took who Cardi had projected the highest, like almost irregardless of position, you would be different than the ETR subs. You'd be different than the Roto-Grinder subs. You would be, Matt, these guys do not offer detailed weekly projections. You can get the projections we're using on Roto-Grinders. We are using Cardi's projections that are on Rotogrinders.com.
If you guys at Utica enough, he might release his projections.
Oh, great! Yeah, just
yeah.
All right, it likes your CJ Stroud pick. It thought it liked Richardson there too, and some running backs there too. Yeah. Okay, so you took Stroud, and then it went Evans, Adams, Kamara.
That's I assume, did it like Stroud because I had Nico, or just like Stroud straight up?
Probably both would be my guess.
Okay.
We might do ownership for NFL, Dan.
Uh-huh.
Actually. Yeah, we're thinking about it.
Okay.
Well, I cannot wait to win all these contests with your guys' ownership and Cardi's projections that make Michael Pittman Jr. the wide receiver 1 every week. That is going to be free.
Yeah, well, we have to convince you to. I think he said he might though.
Okay. Well, if we just add him enough times.
Yeah, please do.
Ownership.
I want to see that Jackson Smith and Jigba equilibrium ownership.
It's gonna say the JSN pick is ass. I predict.
No, so disclosure. So the way my stuff works, I have to limit the pool of players that you can choose from, and it didn't make the cut. No, it doesn't make it about pick. It'll still be able to compute an EV it thinks it has for you at the end. So
from a certain point of view, he's not a bad pick.
it could be like, because it's going to think nobody has him. It might think it's an amazing pick because
well,
because
he's
nobody
not.
had him.
I'm gonna guess napkin mathing, which is mostly what I'm. That's what kind of my job here. I'm gonna guess he's been selected in less than 5% of total drafts, so his ownership would be less than 1%.
Yeah. Let's see if that. Do I still have that sheet? Well, maybe he updated it.
So let's
We
go.
gotta get this ownership going.
It doesn't hate the Hubbard pick. I think it's not one of the ones at the bottom. So maybe it was a little too early. I'm not sure. So let's keep going. London happened. Oh yes, Drake London always bites Cardi in the ass. Isn't that the thing that
Well,
2 years
it's
ago?
like he's just the Cardi stuff is like, if you know how Cardi does it, you can kind of project which ones his stuff is going to like more than the field. Yeah. 35.9 ADP is sub 1%. Crutches is saying. So yeah, I did break the sim with JSN.
It's okay. So for where you picked Ingram, it was up there as his 5. No, it was ranked number 5 in the order.
What teammates do we want to look at, Davis?
Oh, now it's 4.
Najee Harris and Bijan Robinson, who are not teammates, who are against each other.
Oh, I thought teammate. I only have teammate. I don't have it set up for a.
Well, run this teammate. Run Aaron Jones and Justin Jefferson, which in the first draft, Dan stuff was saying it wanted, and I think is bad.
Justin Jefferson.
It's just very interesting to think about.
Yeah, that's the worst correlation of all the players on the team.
Yeah, that was my thought.
Minus 0.13.
Yeah.
So, for example, Darnold and Jefferson are 0.59 correlated.
Yes, and I mean, surprised they're not. So honestly, surprised it's not higher. Because Jefferson is going to pull Darnold, like in something like this. It's going to pull him from being a guy you wouldn't consider if this was a 12-man draft. If this was a 12-man draft, you wouldn't consider Sam Darnold. But Jefferson is such a point scorer that he pulls Darnold into consideration.
Let's see here.
Yeah, that's still pretty high, Davis. 60%.
Okay.
Like, name another big combo you'd think would be high. I'll look.
CeeDee and Dak. CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott.
That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah, and I have a relatively simple model for how those correlations work, so I'm probably missing some things there. So it didn't hate your off the board receiver pick, but it didn't exactly love it either.
Dan, you can make fun of me. It's allowed.
No.
You can come on and tell me that I'm doing dog shit.
Yeah, but I think we should go on to one of the smaller drafts now.
Okay. Now let's really that was we were forcing the sim to box in a territory where it maybe wasn't quite ready yet. We are now going to take it to where it feels better. We are going to go to the primetime palooza.
Let me see which ones. I've got the little one and I've got the regular one. So the
primetime palooza, we're in it. We entered $10.
This is the $10 one. Let me get the right one up. Okay. Yeah. So these are really interesting because there's a couple things I can talk about maybe after we get a draft in.
Okay. What is it? I have the first overall pick. Who does it want me to take?
You just take a running back.
Just take a running back. Okay.
Yeah. So because there are only 4, so there's 4 highly projected running backs, and then you have a top receiver and a top tight end. Those are often the most commonly first 6 picked things, and they probably should be.
People still have, I think, the BBM 5 brain of need lots of wide receivers.
Yeah.
So
that was my first instinct. My first instinct was, I should take AJ Brown.
So you are first. So this is the $10. Yes. Just let it cook.
All right.
I got one correlation higher than CD Lamb so far.
Yeah, I assume CeeDee Lamb and Dak is about the top. All right, we took Saquon Barkley with the first pick.
Who do you think the highest one is? Oh, this draft goes first. We can't play this game. This draft goes fast.
The highest correlation in the whole field, I'm going to guess, is Tua and Tyreek. Has to be, right?
Tua,
Kyler McBride wouldn't be it because Kyler has running points.
Oh shit! Yep, you're right. I didn't even look at Miami.
How much ball do I know, Brian? I mean, are you not just astounded by my ability?
Yeah,
to just
Tua and Tyreek. Very impressed. Yeah, even I know them.
Even professional DFS player Brian Hooper knows Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa. All right, we are about to be up with the 8 and the 9.
I can't see it. It went Barkley, Henry.
Oh, sorry. Here, let me pull the board view up.
Okay. It went. Oh yeah. Sorry.
Not your fault.
Barkley, Henry.
It wants me to take Goddard, probably.
That's probably fine. I'm behind you.
I got Dan out of the zone. He's not in the matrix right now. I did take Goddard.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on the turn, so we're up again.
And I'm gonna take.
I think you. Yeah. It's saying Rice here.
Okay. Yeah, that was who
Jerry
I was gonna
Rice?
take.
Yeah, sure.
That's who I was gonna take anyways. Was Rashee Rice. The number one thing that could fuck this slate up is if Justice Hill scores a touchdown or if Carson Steele or Emmanuel Wilson score a touchdown. If any of those things happen, it's going to totally throw a wrench.
So the comment on there should have waited on tight end after they both went tight end is correct. You shouldn't. It didn't like Goddard there.
Okay.
Easy said Devontae and Minshew that they are up there.
Yeah,
they're up there, but they're not. They're not in the top 3.
Xavier Worthy goes punishment, absolute punishment. All right, what is it going to want me to do here?
It depends what this guy does. So sometimes in this first spot, it actually, well, it really depends. I don't want to say too much. Okay, I went Dobbs. Okay. So
I'm guessing not Hurts because we have Barkley probably.
It's
saying, small deal though. It's
saying Wicks right now.
Wow, you're not gonna have to talk me into taking Deontay Wicks.
Well, you have two. You got 2 picks, right? And you need a receiver.
We probably need a quarterback.
Now it's quarterbacking. Yes. So they're really close. It's really close between Hurts and Mahomes right now.
Oh well.
Can you be?
Oh man!
Oh wow!
Man, that was really hard. It was really hard for me to pick that one.
Oh no, it actually did work close. So Mahomes was it thought like 10% better.
I broke the sim though by deviating with Goddard. The sim is no coming back from that.
No, it's not going to love your EV at the end of this.
Well,
we'll see.
Fuck my EV.
It's all right. We get a few tries.
Well, how do I fix my EV? How do I save it? Do you?
Well, we can roll it. We can roll it back and see what you do.
Those tight ends go early because you don't want to get boxed out, huh?
Mm-hmm. You don't want to end up with one of the GB guys.
Did that guy take 2 tight ends?
Yes.
No. Yeah, you can.
Right? Is that right?
It's okay, actually. It's all right.
You get a flex, Brian.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem right. I mean,
it's just, there's just not much left. There just isn't much left at this point. That's why. So it just becomes about getting different
Got it.
and not giving up too much.
All right, you guys, can I just make a really dumb pick? What should we do with the last one here?
Let's see what it says, just for fun.
Yeah, what's it say?
Okay. So right now it's got Bateman as a choice.
All right, well, I'm not going to do that because that is going to be he's going to be selected in a lot of these.
Other than that, it likes
Yeah, but get him last.
random running backs. It likely is okay. It is the next tier. It's like random running backs and likely, like Wilson, likely, Hill.
Okay, well, I took a really random running back. The chat already knows who it's going to be.
Oh, steal.
What is 1 yard, 1 touchdown gets me more points than Bateman is going to get?
That could be.
I will never grow up.
Yeah.
Why would you? Why?
It thinks you gave up about. Let me see. Who did you take? Steal. It thinks you gave up $5. It gave up $5 taking Steele instead of Bateman.
That's so funny.
That's
when
funny.
Carson Steele scores a 17-yard screen pass touchdown, I'm gonna remember this. Crutches, I'm gonna remember this.
I was getting him in my last few best ball drafts. I did. We have GTO videos on Endgame, and one of the things it showed for the uncorrelated sports in best ball was when like value hits you in the face here at the end. If that's what Bateman is, you basically, it just tells you to always take it.
Yeah,
but like this is a correlated sport,
right? I mean, it's probably still true. We'll find out eventually, but
in a 2-gamer, like the resources available to you are so limited that like there's going to be a lot of weird looking teams vis-a-vis correlation just because
all right, look, I will sell this team for $1.87 to anyone who wants it.
It's worth more than $1.88. It's worth like $3 or $4 according to
okay, all right, I'll sell this for $3.33. That's where we're starting the bidding.
What if somebody super chats you? That'd be a good bet. You could super chat your teams.
That would be good. But let's do another
if
one.
This one fails too. We can switch to the $3 one. That's fine. Yeah. All right. What spot do we?
No sack. See, this is how much of a fucking nit sacrilegious is. He hears a team going for $3 of EV, and he's like, I'll bid $1. All right, so we said running back is basically what we want to do with our first pick.
It's closer than I thought, and I'm not sure why that is. It could be projections moved a little bit, but I think there are teams where you end up with no running back and you're okay. Depending on what happens, where you don't get one of the top 4 running backs. It's actually maybe
I'm not. Austin, I'm refunding you. I'm not actually selling you the Carson Steele team. I'm sorry.
Okay,
that was fake. That was fake. I will refund your super chat, Austin. Not because I don't want to sell it, but because imagine the hassle. Austin, imagine the hassle. Imagine the hassle. No one wants that.
Well, for you.
Correct. I thought this was a really good bit I had at the start of the season. Was what if I just offered to buy 1% of people's best ball mania portfolio?
No, okay, wait. When Henry Barkley, I just want to peek here. Yeah.
15 seconds.
Yeah, it wants what you want. Yeah, take one.
Let's just see what happens when we take Jacobs.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. And then it goes to Checo, and then Hurts. I think Hurts is probably a mistake. So at this point, oh, that's interesting.
AJ Brown, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews.
You can take those. You can also take a quarterback not named Love. Is fine here too. Apparently,
I'm gonna take Kelce.
Do I see this draft right? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I thought Kelsey was the 5th best option. It can't be that bad. And I'm not sure. Again, a thing to think about is it's assuming everybody else is going to do the best thing.
Right.
And when that's not true, it definitely changes the calculus. Well, let's see what happens.
Which is how you probably should play in the first 2 rounds, right? I mean,
All right, we are up. We've
I
got
can't-
Jacobs and Kelsey. Oh, sorry, I didn't pull the
That's
board
okay.
view up.
Yeah,
It's not going to be able to
believe it or
type
not,
fast enough.
believe it or not, it thinks Andrews is a good pick here.
Starve the beast.
Yeah, it likes Andrews the best.
Okay, that kind of matches with what I thought. This is really far down the rabbit hole, but there used to be these 3-man lobbies on Draft and on Star Street where you could lock everyone out of elite tight end. Does it like Mahomes or Lamar, or does it want us to take another wide receiver?
It likes Mahomes and Lamar. Yeah,
All right, well,
it likes Mahomes a little bit more.
all right, let's try and get back, guys. I'm trying to claw back this $3 or this $5.85 of EV I gave up with the Bateman play.
Yeah.
I got it.
I like that start though.
And now it's going to want a wide receiver, I assume.
Definitely gonna want 2 wide receiver.
Yeah, it's sort of take your pick. Bateman, Wicks, Aguilar. It likes Bateman the best right now.
Real Sophie's choice.
It like you could take Bateman first because you get wow, we come all the way back and we get Bateman anyway. If I was playing one showdown lineup tonight, I would use Patrick Mahomes as my captain on DraftKings.com. Yeah, you want Bateman here. So interestingly, it did not like Kelsey as your second pick.
Well,
maybe we can figure that out. I can back it up.
The computer trying to make sense of what I'm doing in a DFS draft. This is extremely good. I think people are really enjoying me versus a computer.
Okay, let's go. I'm backing it up there, and I'm gonna let it cook a little bit longer. It can't be that bad, right?
I mean, it can't be that bad because Kelsey might be the highest scoring tight end on this slate by like 12 points.
Well, it's like it's more about like positional scarcity. Like,
yeah,
when you take Kelsey and then what happened, and like 4 receivers disappear, like that kind of sucks for you, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, God, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I'm surprised. I mean, I guess I could see it.
It liked it, so I'm just gonna let that run a little longer.
I mean,
it actually liked Lamar there, which I thought is really interesting.
So,
I mean, maybe the idea is if you pick Lamar, then the other 2 guys are fighting over Mahomes and Kansas City pieces,
and you're more likely to get Andrews as well when you take Lamar.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, somebody said the model doesn't care about being hurt by Bateman in the past. Yes, that's accurate.
and the model doesn't know that Dontavian Wicks is going to score 20 points either. So that is interesting.
Right. So Eli's comment, I don't know how you can go QB earlier than round 3. I think that's it. I'm not sure about that one. I think, but certainly once your opponent picks one, then you're much more incentivized.
Your strategy, it's very interesting because this is kind of like poker, where your strategy has to be in part dictate. You cannot dictate strategy wholly. Part of your strategy has to be dictated by your opponent.
Correct. Yeah.
And not even your opponent in a vague sense. Like when we're talking about the 6-man drafts, you are in some regard dictated by your opponents at large, like your opponents in the entire contest, but your opponents in the actual room right here are dictating your strategy to some degree.
Yeah.
Right.
Who pulls the trigger first?
Yeah.
Especially the QB there. You got 3 QBs. They're all good. Yeah, I mean,
They're all
Love is not
decent.
even that bad.
No, Love
Right.
Love is good.
Love
Yeah.
is fun.
So
What does it think of my overall EV on this
EV.
team? Is this plus or negatively? Plus or
can you do the EV for all 4 teams?
I can, but I gotta roll back the whole draft to do that. Okay.
Nah.
I can do it. I type fast.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Henry, Barclay, Jacobs, Pacheco. Hurts, Kelsey, Brown.
trying to do a dynasty fantasy football trade with Drew Dinkmeyer right now, and he's really raking me over the coals.
Oh dear. Shit, I already fucked it up. Let me fix this.
Well, the reason why the second round Lamar teams are beating the countless 6th round Lamar teams is because the combos are not that precise in this. A far greater determinative variable of who's winning this is actually going to be if Bo Melton scores 11 points, or if Carson Steele beats Josh Jacobs or something like that. That is how.
Okay,
Which feels, and that feels eminently possible to me. Like I know this from having done showdown stuff for so long. Like you can think out all the possible combos in your head beforehand, but once the ball kicks off, things are going to happen that you couldn't imagine in a billion years.
Okay, here we go. Solving for EVs. I just want to, while I do this, I'm just going to give a little caveat. So the EV is assuming that everyone is drafting rationally according to whatever it thinks the projections are, right? So, yeah.
People love your keyboard, Dan.
Yeah, I can bring it closer to the speaker. That'll help anybody. But what that means is when you look at these EVs, the high EV lineups are going to be overly optimistic, because if you get to something really valuable, it's quite possible that at equilibrium it literally never happens, right? But in these contests, there's going to be plenty of drafts where there's some donkey and you get this just crazy team, right? So
yeah,
a huge
some idiot passing up on Rashad Bateman,
right? So that's, and then the terrible EVs are probably not as terrible for the same. Well, no, actually, does that work? No, I'm going to hold off on that one. So yeah, if you see a huge EV, it doesn't actually mean it. So let's see. So it thinks it does
What's
not
the
like
buy-in for this?
$10.
$10.
So it thinks this Gainwell team is worth $1.67.
Ooh.
It really doesn't like it. And I mean, let's look at that team. So
that's another thing we got to add, the EV of your lineup you just drafted. That'd be hilarious.
I mean, it's got a not very good tight end, and it's got a punt tight end and a punt running back in it,
and a third running back and an uncorrelated Hurts.
And yeah, so it does not love that one. So
all right, so I'm not gonna have the lowest EV in this draft, I assume.
So you got Bateman, yes?
I got Bateman.
Yeah, it thinks yours is worth about $7.35.
Golly, man, I'm losing money.
What's the rake in this?
It's 10%. So 10%. Like an even team would be okay. It absolutely loves this next team. This next team with Jordan Love,
last round quarterback,
freaking crushed, because this shows this dynamic where if you're the last to pick a single spot, you often get a lot of EV. And it thinks his team is worth $30.
Oh wow! Look at that.
It's because it's just so highly projected, I guess. And then this last one, it thinks is okay. No, yeah, you got Kraft.
Yeah.
But this one he thinks is worth about $8.15. So again, the high EV lineups are probably not as high EV as my sim says, because of what I just said, where like it's going to say, oh my god, this super rare thing. It's only rare if all of your opponents are sharp, right? and they're not in this kind of contest. So the EV isn't going to be as high as it thinks. But it does show this dynamic. When you're last to pick something like quarterback, like it means everyone else is kind of a pick behind you. So it allows you to just load up on everything else and hold off to the last thing, right?
4 teammates. There are 4 Eagles in this.
Yeah. So, but it's only 2 games, and we
Yeah.
may not care. We may not care that much.
And it's
All right,
compared to what? So yeah,
Right.
you don't want 4 teammates, but then compared to what? Compared to
Right.
a 2-gamer, and the other teams drafted weren't great apparently.
God, they have so many freaking contests live, dude.
If you want to do, yeah, sure. Oh yeah, it's
Do
still
another one.
going.
It's
Sure.
still open.
Yeah.
Dan, you do kind of look like Dink.
Do I? I need to
Yeah.
look him up. I don't know if I've ever seen his face before.
All right, I got the first pick in this one.
Yeah.
Who does your stuff think is the first pick? I guess. Oh, I got the second pick. Never mind. So I guess it thinks Barkley or Henry.
We'll see what other people do. Wait a minute. I got to restart this. So you're in the second spot. Okay.
I'm like trying to think of like what I learned in this. And I think the main thing I've learned is that you should just for the bigger ones, for the BRs, you should be taking undrafted running backs more, and you should be waiting to take quarterback in the 4-mans, the prime times.
Right, unless you get forced to start taking it. One of the things I see it do.
Well, you can't get forced. You just take Love.
Well, you can, but sometimes when they take a quarterback, you're incentivized to do so a little bit anyway, even though the differences aren't that big. And I think I'm not exactly sure why that would be. It's not that big of a difference.
Barkley goes first.
Okay, so you could take it once. It likes Pacheco the best, but it actually, interestingly, yeah, Henry, Jacobs are all.
All right,
well,
I'm gonna do an IKB.
It's all pretty close. You know, occasionally Mahomes pops here, though, which I find.
I'll take Pacheco. I'll take Pacheco.
Um,
Well, if this was true, if the 4-mans, if the quarterback drops off, but that's just not true on this slate. They're all like Hurts and Lamar and Mahomes have strong projections, but Love has Love is not projected poorly at all. It's not like this is some shitty bad quarterback.
okay,
All right,
so
we are up. None of the tight ends have been taken.
now it's Kelsey now. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And please, guys, please, very simple. Please sub to the new Endgame channel, the Endgame Syndicate YouTube.
I put the link here in chat too.
There you go. All right, Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers go. So all the quarterbacks are available. There's one. I want to take Xavier Worthy. What does the computer think of that?
So it likes right now. So the numbers are changing a lot. So it likes Mahomes, Goddard. Goddard. It likes Goddard the most. This literal second.
All right. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do what it says.
Which is surprising to me.
It's because there's no 4th tight end, right? Like no sell. Was it Musgrave? Who's the?
Well, the two Green Bay tight ends are being split in projections right now, and we are now back up. Yeah, we are now back up.
No, it says. Oh wow, Watson. Yeah.
No, that completely makes sense. That completely makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, we have at least one new subscriber to the Endgame Syndicate YouTube.
Oh, that'll put us over the edge. That'll do it. That's
correct. I agree with this, and I think this is important context. It'd be very different if this was a primetime slate with a bunch of shitters. We have 3 very good quarterbacks and a non-bad 4th quarterback.
Yeah, I could run that sim if we want.
I'm assuming it wants us to take Mahomes right here.
That is correct.
All right. I just want everyone to know right now, I'm gonna completely disregard the computer on the last pick, probably, and we're gonna get another $3 EV team.
Yeah, then I want to try to get the highest EV one of these fucking drafts.
Okay, all right. No, all right, I won't. I'll do whatever it says on the last one, but
Let's just see what EV.
It's gonna tell me to take Bateman.
Why do you hate Bateman so much?
Wait, no. Yeah, you're right.
No one.
It's pretty close between Bateman and Wicks right now.
Can I take Wicks and still get positive EV?
Now Wicks is winning. I mean, as ironic, the numbers are changing, so that tells me it's pretty close.
All right. My Dan, can I tell you my I know ball, I know draft, I half know Sims take? Would be if I told the sim that Justin Watson scores a touchdown, wouldn't it really want Watson with Mahomes over Wicks without Love?
Right, if I understood that correctly. Yeah, I think so.
So if I'm altering the projection to say that Justin Watson's 2.2 point projection is wrong, it's actually 8.4 because he scores a 19-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
and
it's really easy in a 2-gamer to get this happens in normal DFS too, to be overly influenced by just sort of conventional slate thinking and correlation, but like things really change a lot when the number of things you have to choose from is so small, right? So yeah, we can run that simulation. So somebody asked, like, what if one quarterback was just, what if there was a huge drop off in quarterback? How would that change? Yeah. We can actually
I want to see the EV of these teams at some point, Dan.
Sure. So it had, okay, let me get back to that. Let me back it off. So I think, and let's see, we're on.
This is a, you know what? Good point, Easy. It's a very good point. Watson's touchdown would take away points from Pacheco and Kelsey. That's true.
Right.
That's a pretty big stack.
That's the four teammates thing again.
How many people are in this?
It's about 10,000.
10,000. Okay.
Bateman sucks, and a computer isn't accounting for that. I mean, that is, I gotta say, that is the type of thinking that has kept me poor in my life. Because guess what? Brian and Dan do not fucking care that Bateman sucks. They're like, that is accounted for in the projection already.
He's got a cool name. I mean, that's all I need to know.
He's got an extreme. I mean, and if you really want to rewind, if you really, really, really want to rewind, Rashad Bateman was an awesome prospect. He was an awesome college player. He had 100 yards in his first ever career game. He just has been injured. Like, that's just the deal. Is he just has been injured a ton.
Yeah, but if you wanted to fix that artillery frost, you would just lower Bateman's projections and then rerun it.
I also lied. He didn't have 100 yards in his first game, but he got injured as a rookie. He's on the PUP. This is the game. This game against Cleveland right here, 7 for 103. This is the game that has kept everyone poor on him.
So let's go back to that draft board. I can estimate some EVs. So it's saying for the fourth drafter, it's saying $5.77.
Who's the AJ Brown?
Yeah, AJ Brown won.
AJ Brown over Henry.
Not great.
Bad.
Yeah, or I think 2 receivers there is probably not great. You could do maybe AJ Brown and Kelsey, or AJ Brown and the 4th running back, I think, are viable. I have to look at that again. So the next one it thinks is worth $12.98.
Okay.
The Jordan Love one. I think it's going to like that one the best.
Yeah, it seems to like Jordan Love.
I was going to say, it seems to like taking the guy who's projected 1.5 points worse with the last pick.
Yeah. If you can, so your team looks like it's right around par. It's $8.72.
All right, almost plus EV.
Bateman would have just got you right over that $9 mark.
And then this first one, wow, nobody took Bateman, huh? Nobody took Bateman.
He had Flowers.
Yeah. So this guy with Kraft, it's $5.14.
This is 11% rake.
Yeah. It's
here we go, Matt. We're gonna take, or we can take requests. Can we get an EV calc on this team, Dan?
So
Love Pacheco, Devonta, Reed. You can't do it
I
without
have
the
to-
whole draft.
Yeah, I should add that capability at some point. That would be nice to have, but I don't have that.
Needs
Yet.
to know the entire draft.
Oh my God, Dan, you want to talk? I just got a literal. I can make Endgame Syndicate their first $1 million as a business, not as a DFS player. It wouldn't even have to be good. This would not even have to be good, Dan. You could give the shittiest, most rudimentary math for this, a tool that charges people $20 a month, and they can put their Best Ball Mania teams in, and that you just give them an EV. And it could be a fake-ass EV. It wouldn't even have to be a good EV, but you know what I mean? I'm telling you, that is $1 million idea.
All right, good to know. I'm sure somebody's getting on that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too hard.
It could be you. It could be you. It could be the endgamesyndicate.com/BBM.
The problem is they don't release the CSVs till after the season, I think, right?
I don't know, actually. Good question.
Pretty sure.
So one of the things you find in these drafts, so if everyone does
literally, it wouldn't even have to be.
Thumbs down.
It just would be you put it in, you get thumbs up, get it down. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But the thing is, I don't like. It has to be something that I would believe myself. So
yeah, you wouldn't want to.
Well, if you have the CSVs, you could probably pull it off pretty easily.
Yeah. I mean,
one of the things I wanted to say about this particular kind of game, which I find very interesting. So it reminds me of poker, where like the bulk of your EV comes from sitting at a table where there are a couple donkeys there. Like it's just so much of your EV comes from that. So if you get to one of these short slate drafts, and everyone's drafting pretty well, you'll find out that maybe everybody's losing to the rake. Maybe not getting crushed. Maybe one guy's losing $2 and the other guy's losing $3. So you get a bunch of those, and then you get one draft where somebody just does something astonishingly stupid. He ends up with like $1. One other guy in your draft, just because of bad luck, ends up with like $6, and then the other two guys just have massively plus EV lineups.
Yeah, they have $50 teams.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a very strange dynamic, specific. I would assume specific to these very small slates, because I think in just like in a huge draft, like the Battle Royale, the big one we just did earlier, like I would imagine that kind of effect is much smaller. You still want donkeys in your draft, but you're not going to get this gigantic EV boost that you do here, because I have a couple teams where it was like, I don't know, something crazy. It'd be like Kelsey and Andrews and Mahomes and like one of the top 3 receivers. And it was just because 2 people picked quarterback way too early and then did a couple other really dumb things. And so there's this massive EV just waiting to be scooped up. So like, you know, we talk about all this game theory stuff and it's all really interesting, but for this kind of game, it's just like, wait for somebody terrible to show up and print. Seems to be what it's about.
Interesting. Yeah. That gives more credence to like the back counting strategy we talked about, Davis, where you're paying attention. So when you're Davis Mattek and news drops, you fire up some drafts. You have that news and these guys don't.
I mean, can it be simpler than that? A great time to draft BRs would be on a Friday night or a Saturday night when people are literally drunk. Like literally, they're just like drunk on the couch, being like, "I just want to fire."
Just like poker.
Well, I mean, I've done like 100 of these like Thursday, Friday drafts at this point. And
are you expecting to win?
No, but one of the and obviously it's not. It's a tiny fraction of my just regular DFS volume. But I'm doing it to test all these tools, right? But still, I just couldn't help myself. Like if I do 3 drafts in a row and it's like mostly sharp drafters, I'm like, I'll come back in an hour and see if the pool of players is not as tough. That seems like if you're actually doing this to maximize EV, like pay attention to how your drafts are going and the timing of when you enter the pool.
Do you remember Table Shark? I think it was called Table Shark, the old poker tool.
Oh, yes. I didn't
Yeah.
have it, but I know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah. It was around. I can't remember what year it came out, but anyways, it would scout. I wonder if it eventually was illegal. This is so long ago, I can barely remember this stuff, but it would, I'm assuming, scrape the site, scrape the tables, and then tell you who was at what tables and like if there's any donkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's very easy compared to BBM5 though. It's way easier to grade a lineup than BBM5 season long.
That's a man who doesn't want to make $1 million tool. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. In fact, I mean, look, let's be honest. I don't have the initiative to set that up, but the first site that does that literally, like, I know from, this is always Brian. It's always Brian leaving his phone on vibrate.
Oh, shit. That was me.
I know from like home league stuff, like Football Guys has a grade my team tool where it just like imports your league from Sleeper or whatever, and it grades every team. People eat that shit up, dude. They love it so much. This is also Brian. Brian also doesn't have Discord muted. Gotta understand, dude. Guys.
No, that's Dan. That's not me.
Okay, all right.
Here, I'll send him a message and you can hear it go beep. If you could, if the user could understand they would have certain limitations, you could do it fairly easily. Like you couldn't do, when's Chase Brown gonna get, when's Zach Moss gonna get hurt and Chase Brown's gonna play 6 weeks? How many iterations does that have?
No, literally all you would do was compare each draft to a set of seasonal projections. And if they beat the median, it gets a thumbs up. And if they lose to the median, it gets a thumbs down.
Yeah, that you could do, but it's not super accurate.
Well, people don't want it. No one's even interested in that. Do we want to do another one?
You can, or I can do one if you want to switch. It's up to you.
He's trying to max it out.
No, I can't. Yeah. No shot.
If you imported your BBM5 team and it gave you a different Price is Right sound on how you did, it would crush. Yeah, it would.
They need to release the CSV. Let's see I think they have a date on when they released that last year. What's that site called?
Easy. You guys know. BBMDB, I think. Easy said they'll release it after sometime next week.
Oh, really? Oh, then he could.
All right, Primetime Palooza 2.
It's a lot of data to wrangle, actually.
Oh, God damn it. I had the same location problem.
You just have to, it used to happen to me a ton when I first started streaming. You just have to refresh, and it fixes it right. God, imagine how rich I'm going to be after I win the first Battle Royale and I win Primetime Palooza 2. All right, we have the first pick, so it wants us to take Saquon in this.
All right.
We are sharing. We are locked in. I actually
each other.
No. I've actually been doing I'm doing big battle royales in the background.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is totally what happened. Sorry, put yours back up.
Yes, anything that people can screenshot and put on Twitter to brag about their draft in.
Yeah.
I mean, people are already doing this. The best ball explorer that got acquired by Underdog, same thing.
ETR.
What did I say?
Underdog.
By ETR. I'm so Underdog pilled. If I had to pick one of these guys in these shit slates, it would definitely be Juju, I think. Okay, I'm gonna take Saquon, right?
Sure.
All right, Saquon, first pick. My EV goes to 10, maybe $11, just based off that. Beautiful.
I think picking first is probably not great in this contest, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked at. I can't remember. I feel like I get screwed a lot when I'm first in this one. But it really depends. Like I feel like if your opponents are good, then being first is not good in this one. But don't quote me on that. Okay, so the first 6 picks are probably close to what they should.
Pretty. I was gonna say seems pretty straightforward. All right, Andrews and Kelsey go.
So at this point, it likes quarterbacks and receivers.
I'm gonna go Rashee Rice and Devonta Smith and try. I'm gonna try and test the last quarterback theorem.
Rice. Oh, okay. Once you take Rice, it then wants you to take a quarterback. Interestingly enough.
All right, I'll do it. I'm not gonna fight back against the computer. So this is gonna be. We're gonna have to take Luke Musgrave or Tucker Kraft on this team. Yeah, the first doesn't, because you don't get to choose. You're not going to get to choose tight end, I guess. Someone else is going to make that decision for you, probably.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to get robbed out of something.
You need a mistake.
Something's going to be scarce for you.
Which, whatever. We still find a way. We still find a way to win. Yeah, fourth seems right to me. All right. Devonta, Lamar, Flowers, Worthy, and Jaden Reed go. So now we have to.
It thinks this guy should take Goddard, which I think is fun. But I don't know.
He won't though.
Probably not.
He's
All
right. So
it wants a receiver here.
It wants Dobbs, I bet.
Dobbs or Watson are the top 2 right now.
All right. Once we take Dobbs, what does it want us to do?
Once you take Dobbs, it wants you to take Watson also. I don't know how it's easy to take that. Let's see. Watson or Bateman are the top 2 at the moment.
Frickin' Bateman, dude. This tool is
Watson is winning. Watson is winning by like $1.
Yeah, these are fake touchdown odds though. The touchdown odds being offered by sportsbooks for these first 2 games is some of the most criminal shit I've ever seen. Carson Steele first touchdown is like 20-1.
Making up for those taxes.
Musgrave went. So we had a double quarter. So I guess I'm taking.
You're gonna get likely. No, you're not gonna get likely.
So I gotta take Tucker frickin' Kraft.
You're gonna get Kraft.
Yeah.
Unless you want to get cute and take something weird. Yeah, Kraft.
What does it make my Kraft. EV if I take Noah Gray?
It only costs like 60 cents in EV.
All right. Well, I've spent 60 cents on worse.
Probably because it's hardly ever picked.
Well, Tucker Kraft is injured. Tucker Kraft has a back injury.
Okay. So
this is going to be a way for Davis to justify all his picks. It's like, it's only 60 cents, dude.
It's only 60. Dude, it's only 60 cents.
Okay, so it looks like the person who drafted last has the most EV in this one. So
right.
The Jordan Love team, it thinks is worth around $12. And then everybody else got screwed, I'm pretty sure. This likely
Well,
team,
they got Xavier Worthy, so of course they had the best team. They got Xavier Worthy and they took Jordan Love last. So yeah, they win.
Jordan Love last.
This likely team. Oh wait, it likes the second team too, I think.
So it likes all the teams but the Noah Gray team.
No, it does not like the likely team. The likely team it thinks is the worst one. It's
How much?
$4.50.
Well, Sus Edwards is in the chat. So someone Sus, you're in the chat, brother. You drafted a $5 team.
It's
the Wicks team it likes a lot. It likes the Wicks team, $16.
Well, okay, so it does
All
snowball.
Right.
So it does snowball.
And your team it thinks is worth, $6.
Golly.
Oof. That's
You
your
need,
lowest one yet.
you need that last draft position, and then people to really screw up, and then you're just purging.
So my gut on this is that this is a rake trap. Not a rake trap, but it's just like I think you're more likely to win playing GTO principles. You're more likely to realize your EV using GTO principles in the big ones, in the BRs.
I think it's much more sensitive to how many drafts you have with donkeys. Right? Like in this one, the mistakes are magnified in EV. Like a donkey play. So when you make a mistake, I was thinking about this yesterday. When you make a mistake in a draft, the EV can go to two different kinds of people. It can go to the people in the draft, and it can go to the people in the contest. Right?
Right.
My feeling
with
the BBM things, when you make a mistake, you're largely donating to the contest as a whole, and you're donating a little bit to the people drafting with you, because usually it doesn't make it that much better for everyone else. In this one, where there's so much scarcity, when you just fail to take somebody you should take, it benefits everyone in your draft a significant amount, right? So
Right.
it's much more, your EV result is going to be much more polarized based on who's in your draft, and something like this. That's just how I
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
All right, should we do another, or are we getting bored?
I'm never bored. You want to enter the $3 one? Maybe we have more chance at some real equity.
High stakes streaming.
There we go. We haven't seen any I think we saw one really bad play total so far.
I don't even know where to find it. It might be gone. That might be sold out, Dan.
I think
Already?
the lowest we saw was $3, a $3.
Yeah, it was $3. Did that sell out again?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's sold out.
Wow. They'll do another one later, probably. All right, well,
Okay.
same one it is then. Glutton for punishment. You just need a little luck. Mostly in pick. You need to do a better job of picking your opponents.
I need to do a better job picking my opponents.
Yeah.
Well, look, they knew. Yeah, the 3 filled while we were doing this. So
Wow.
okay, we got with the 2 spot. We said the 2 spot was good, right?
I'm not sure. The 2 spot's
okay.
really good. I think 2 spot is good if 3 or 4 screw up. I don't know. That's kind of obvious, isn't it? I think the last 2 spots are probably. I don't know.
All right, so Jordan is from Saber Sim, good player, obviously. Yeah, I don't know.
You've got one person with no.
But this guy had that. This guy was in the last one, and he had the highest EV team.
He did,
in the last one we did.
Maybe he got lucky.
Well, right, that would be. I mean, how would you know, right? So, you'd have to draft with the guy 20 times to know if he got lucky or if he's a brain player.
That's fair. Yeah.
Wow, a non-derogatory. That's fair. All right, we are up. I assume it wants us to take Pacheco.
A running back.
My guy Jordan is in the next 34.
You can also switch it up with running backs because their projections.
All right, I'm going to take my I know ball take is that Pacheco gets squeezed by Steele and by Pirine, so I'm good passing on him.
Yeah.
Jordan is in the next 34, and we are just giving him the free fucking alpha. Not even charging him a super chat, man. Devin just got a soft room and got Mahomes, Pacheco, Rice, Smith, Dobbs, and Kelsey. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's pretty sweet.
So
now you're in a bad spot. I actually think drafting second is the worst. If
the worst spot.
If your opponents are good, it's actually the worst.
So it wants us to take Rice or Andrews, I'm assuming.
It's saying Rice, Smith, Andrews. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if
Rice.
we're gonna lose it, if we're gonna, I was gonna say if we're gonna lose anyways, I at least want to take the players I like.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan passes on the tight end, so that sets up Andrews for us if we want it.
Yep, that's leading right now. No, it's some. It's all these. This
I love. I love the idea of in his Sims. It's like the hot dog race at a baseball game, and it's like, oh, Rice is ahead now, but Wicks is catching up. Like it's like they're competing against each other to get.
It's
to the
mixing
top of
a
the
lot of things here. I think you're unlikely to make a bad pick from an EV perspective. Like, yeah, it was just mixing it up quite a bit.
Oh, Chris was the high EV from the last draft, and he says it's not luck.
There you go.
Yeah, I think this is no, this is not right. It doesn't always, the sim does not always have the tight ends as the clear top 7. It depends.
Well, it has the first 6 drafts here we have is the most common thing I see in my stuff.
All right, we are up. No quarterback has been taken. It's gonna say Goddard.
Yeah, I like the guess. All right, it's running now. Yep, you are correct.
God, will the computer just give me one good draft?
Okay, we don't hate that Hertz was taken because that didn't really hurt us.
I already
liking your EV a lot now.
It wants Wicks right now.
Actually, believe it or not, it wants Lamar.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, sure, Lamar and Andrews. Bateman already went, so we are going to be saved. But it'll be interesting what it wants to do with the last pick now, because
it might do some random punt. I guess it's going to have to, right?
It's going to have to now, and I'm gonna overrule it probably.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the kind of pick where I think the no ball is the best. Well, yeah. So you have Andrews, Aguilar is available. Aguilar, Watson, Justin Watson.
Should I?
Wow.
How much should I overrule the computer? No, I'll do Watson because we don't have Worthy. So we don't have Worthy. When you don't have here's a little bit of a ball knowers thing. On teams where when you don't get Worthy, you want to take Watson because one of those two guys, they're directly competing for each other's snaps. Yeah, watch on Endgame, bro. Watch on Endgame.
So it's an interesting team. So it thinks you got $13 out of this one.
Let's go.
And that's interesting. So you have two Kansas City receivers, but you've got Jackson with Andrews.
But two Kansas City wide receivers can totally get there in a game
where
Lamar runs a bunch.
Yeah, that's true.
The strategy here is to do what the computer says is good. That is my.
To be fair, what it's trying to do, it's trying to look ahead and figure out what your opponents are going to do and what that means, what you should do, right? So it's trying to look down a tree of possibilities, and so it knows what spots they have left. It knows what's attractive to your opponents, and then it tries to basically figure it out by working backwards. So the strategy here is it really freaking depends on what your opponents are doing. Whereas in the big draft, the battle royale, it's much more about like the projection curve, the ownership, what pieces are likely to be available for you to correlate with these kinds of decisions, right? But here it's like, oh shit, there's only one tight end left, and there's one guy left going after me who has to take one. How likely is it that he takes it, but then he's incentivized to do this other thing? Because it's all of these kinds of calculations, right?
How much does this compare to the golf ones, the uncorrelated ones that you were doing? Like
completely different. Yeah. Completely different, because this is way more interesting to me because you have positional scarcity at multiple positions, right? Golf, there's only one position. There's
only one position.
It's just a straight up curve. So it's a game of, number one, you're drafting players who are basically identical to each other at roughly equal frequencies at equilibrium. So if you're seeing your opponents do something else, you can make a counter move, right? So if I've got 10 golfers all the same, but these 3 are being drafted way more than the others, then I can make a counter move by going to the others, plus combinations, right? And then it just becomes a question of like, how tight is the projection range where you consider 2 golfers to be the same, right? What golfers are really in the same quote unquote tier? And then that's pretty much the game, right? That plus no golf, right? That's it. Here it's like completely different. It's like, well, like this dynamic you see with Jordan Love teams often having high AV is something I found where it has nothing to do with Jordan Love being particularly good. It has to do with your opponents either making a mistake or getting pushed into a corner where they're forced to take all the other 3 quarterbacks. And then all of a sudden you're a pick ahead of everyone else because you can wait to pick it on the last round.
Because
right?
you don't have to take a Justin Watson. You don't have to take a Rashad Bateman. You don't have to take a Tucker Kraft or a Luke Musgrave. And it's like, again, it's different than if he was projected like for 13.4 points. The fact that he's decent enough. Yeah.
Right.
Like let's pretend there was a slate where it was the same game, Kansas City, Baltimore, but let's pretend let's sub in the Vikings Giants game for the Philadelphia Green Bay game. It would be a lot different. The context would change massively. I think would be my guess.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, we could hack up our game and change the projection of someone radically and see what it does. If you want to do that, it'd take a few minutes to run, but maybe another time. I don't know.
I mean, I can hang out for at least 30 more minutes if you want to try and hack it up.
Yeah, I could do that. Like, what is so the thing that is the most particular to me about this draft is just how close the quarterbacks are to each other. And I think that if you change that dynamic, like the whole thing changes. That's one. And then
would it be good for, I'm trying to think, would this be good for hockey? What are the correlations like in hockey?
Hockey's kind of like baseball, except that the I don't think I'm that great at hockey yet, even though that's the one live final I won a championship in.
Tough life, man.
It's sort of like baseball on ice from a DFS perspective. I've never done drafts. So you've got correlated pieces on a team, so stacking is a thing. I don't know, maybe somebody in the chat.
Yeah, there's teammate correlation. There's not much goalie correlation.
No, goalies are just freaking random as hell.
Yeah.
As I recall.
Yeah, because saves are relatively random. All right, I'm gonna see if I can induce some GTO principles on this battle royale team. Will you hack up?
Okay.
Let's make Jordan Love better. Let's make Jordan worse. Make one of the quarterbacks worse.
Okay. So let's make Jordan Love a lot worse.
I'll do a bear stack on this one, Brian. I'll do Caleb and DJ Moore.
Good thinking.
Okay.
You getting excited, man? You purchased your jersey yet? Are you gonna paint your nails? Are you gonna paint your nails
in solidarity?
Sunday? Yeah.
No.
Or do this, or make Mahomes' projection better. Do make one of the quarterbacks better.
So it has, yeah. Well, that would just be a massive boost. I can make Mahomes just a lot better.
Okay.
Let's like he says has like a 28-point projection, which is insane, right? So
I'm actually very curious what that does to the just to because that's like the thing that like that so that happens in drafts or in games, right? I mean, guys just beat their projection by 10 all the time, and I'm curious of what testing that will do.
All right, let's see. Let's do the same contest that we just did. Primetime plays.
Well, Lamar, it depends on how you do Lamar's projection, right? If you made Lamar's projection way better, some of the pass catchers would improve. Not all of them, but
let's see.
I'm going to do a super scroller here. I'm going to have like 4 completely undrafted guys.
So I can tell you, if I make Mahomes like 3.5 points better than the next best quarterback,
yeah,
he's just going first. It looks like he's going for. That's where it's converging. I'll let it run a little longer.
Interesting. I still would have assumed the running back EV would remain.
Yeah.
I probably won't play any of the dog bowl because I don't really know what I'm doing yet. I think it's fine to run 150 battle royales and just see what comes out, but the dog bowl is more of a. I'm not even sure I'm good at this yet. It's like, I mean, you see, like the computer is not even always able to make up its mind.
Well, that's probably my fault, to be fair.
If if Dan's computer cannot completely make up its mind, how can I completely make up my mind?
Well,
you know,
I've only been working on this for a few weeks, so I still got a ways to go.
This is true. Makes sense that a one of a kind player would go over 4 guys who project roughly the same.
Yeah.
Wow, we didn't get sniped.
We didn't get sniped. We have Caleb Williams, Jonathan Taylor, Devin Achane, and DJ Moore. So we're gonna take a wide receiver and a tight end. I'm gonna scroll down so far. I'm gonna scroll down so goddamn far in a 67,000 person contest. I'm gonna break the sim again.
I'd be more inclined to scroll down for receiver because there's more, you're giving up less.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Do you do it this turn or maybe you do? Maybe you don't do it yet. Maybe you do.
I picked last, so I picked consecutively.
Oh, okay. You get 2 picks. I got you.
I think I'm gonna do Deontay Johnson, and I'm gonna do. Is Taysom at tight end in this? No, he's not.
No.
I'm gonna do.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna do Juwan Johnson.
Wait, scroll up. Well, what's the top of that tight end curve look like?
Pitts, Ferguson, Njoku, Schultz, Bowers, Freiermuth.
Yeah, I don't know how fragile those projections are. That is giving up quite a bit. Like,
they're insanely fragile.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson seems like you're giving up less than Juwan Johnson.
Just from these napkin math projections, that they have on Underdog, you're giving up basically a point from the wide receiver 18 to the wide receiver 30. Yeah, Chad is gonna snipe my complete shit picks. I was saying though, that's the thing I like about this. Is like, okay, if you snipe me, I'll just take someone else. I'll just take George Pickens, or I'll just take Josh Palmer or 80. Is there there's a bring back I could do here. I'll take a literal wide receiver 42. DeAndre Hopkins never gets drafted in this, and that's a bring back. That's better. This is probably, I'm going to guess that if we put this in a version of Nerdy Sims a year from now, and let's say it's the best sim possible, Dan feels 100% good about it. He's like, I would use this to draft teams. I'm going to guess it says this is utter dog shit to take a guy who gets drafted. I mean, it's me and DeAndre Hopkins' mom, the only people taking him in this. But maybe not. We just don't know. How could we possibly know? We need to do more research.
Yeah.
Does your player sim have the run back correlations and stuff in there somehow?
It does, although they're very approximate. They're not very tight. They're kind of generalized.
Yeah.
It's something I could definitely improve. When it comes to all of my process stuff, the in NFL, the in-game correlations and sims are the thing I could use the most work on. Just to be fair.
All right, I'm gonna take Hopkins, and I'm gonna take Juwan. All right, Dan, is your 28-point
Mahomes? It's
Mahomes?
cooking.
Okay.
It's reasonably cooked.
All right.
I can just run a draft it playing against itself and see what it does.
Caleb, Taylor, A-Chain, Hopkins, Juwan. We'll do one more primetime palooza with Mahomes at 28 points, and then we'll get out of here. I'm gonna go eat some lunch and let my dog out. What is this? I mean,
wow, it's actually still
that's plus EV for sure.
This is
plus
crazy.
that's the thing. I bet in the I know this. I wouldn't even have to speculate. You're getting way softer drafts in the 6-mans as well.
Way softer ball movements.
The 4-man lobbies are a fucking sweat fest. Total sweat. It would only be nerds almost.
I think I did something wrong. My code is telling me something that's bullshit.
Yeah, Pat Mahomes can never be projected that high.
Pat Mahomes can never be projected that high.
No, there's clearly something wrong here. I don't think I can do this. Sorry. I thought I could do it. I must have entered something on the wrong line. What the hell?
All right. Then we're gonna do one more battle royale. Then we're gonna get out of here, and it's gonna be Dan can't look at his computer at all.
My computer is off.
No sims. You just have to purely speculate.
All right. Speculation is my middle name.
Based on.
Who do you think the most negatively correlated, according to my stuff, teammates are for Sunday?
Oh Jesus!
It's actually a tie.
Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor.
They're up there. But
I would imagine it's got to be some running back duo where
it's not Anthony Richardson. Let me see Anthony Richardson. Yeah, he's second.
Wow. God, do I know ball or do I know ball, man?
That is good. That was good.
These are what positions? If it's
RB wide receiver.
RB wide receiver. Mostert and Tyreek.
They're up there too, but not number one.
Pittman and Taylor.
No.
Bijan and London.
No.
So we're looking for a receiver that just sits down after they run up the score or something.
Bijan and London's not even that bad.
That's not right.
CeeDee and Rico Dowdle. I don't know.
Yeah, it has to be.
No. You know who else was up there? Malik Neighbors and Devin Singletary.
That completely makes sense. That team is maxed out at about 18.5 points.
It's the Seahawks.
Oh, Ken and Walker and Metcalf?
Or Walker and Lockett, either one.
Yeah, I mean, that's funny you say that because I was like, I literally wouldn't even consider them. They're so negatively correlated, it wouldn't even consider in my life that anyone would play them together. All right, Dan, you have the 5th selection in this draft. You have to intuit what you think the computer might do. Tyreek goes 1, Lamb goes 2. I'm guessing that you're going to be able to choose between Josh Allen, A-Chain, and Nico Collins.
I'm going to guess.
Bijan went, so this guy probably is going to take Justin Jefferson, I would guess. Love to see Dan intuit.
Me? I don't know.
Yeah.
Shit. My guess is so.
Right, he took Josh Allen.
So let's do a running back then.
All right, we'll do Jonathan Taylor. So you have the Indianapolis Colts running back, and Bric just told you that Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson are like the number 2 negatively correlated plays of the whole slate.
So let's not take that guy.
That's what you just said, Brian.
Or they were up there.
Oh, they're up there. Yeah, they're just under Seattle.
All right, Jefferson goes. So like the top high end wide receiver, and Kincaid goes. So the top projected tight end is gone. So by ADP, A-Chain, Nico Collins, Jamar Chase, ETN.
Who are we seeing? Taylor and who? Pittman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
I don't know. I would take Collins or Chase probably, personally.
All right, let's do Collins, and we might be able to set up our correlation. We'll see what the rest of the room does. I noticed that sometimes if you take Nico, the room will, depending on the room, sometimes they will stay in their lane, and sometimes they won't. The issue is that Stroud is so easily backstackable. You could just take his uncorrelated guys later. Brian, you're gonna have to feed Dan the scroll the F down guys. He's not deep enough in the weeds to know who to scroll down for yet.
Yeah.
But
I can, yeah.
Rome, Odunze.
Rome is, to give you a hint, he is $4,000 on DraftKings this week. Wide receiver 34.
35.9. There you go.
So basically that means he essentially does not get drafted.
No, we took him once.
We
took him once on stream.
But I'd be more Daryl, Mr. Mooney.
Yeah, he's a kind of interesting, like completely, I don't know. That honestly, to me, going the complete undrafted guys feels better than doing the partial, the halfway. Like the wide receiver 20 who gets drafted 10% of the time. It feels better to go to the guys who are at like literally like 0% projected.
Was he a Bear?
He was a Bear. He's a Falcon now.
He's a Falcon. Okay.
All right, we are up in one pick.
What tight ends?
Stroud, all the good ones: McBride, Kincaid, and Ingram.
Okay, so we're not that incentivized. I mean, we could just grab Stroud now. I mean, what are the odds the very next guy takes Stroud? I guess we don't care. What are the odds he takes anything we really care about? Very small. Right?
I mean, that's the thing. Once you get past 15 picks, the odds anyone takes anything you care about are pretty low.
Yeah, so
it does, just anecdotally from observing these rooms, it does seem like people are a little bit more woke to the scroll based on my experiences of drafting these in the past. Like where in the past it would just kind of roughly hew towards ADP, and that it does not feel it's going that way anymore. I'm gonna guess your sim would have told us to take one of these two running backs, White or Walker, but again, maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it would tell us
take a tight end, maybe, because how many have been taken?
Three have been taken. All the guys who are projecting for 10 or more are gone.
If you're planning on scrolling left down with your last pick, I'd be more inclined to take a tight end higher up the thing. Otherwise, I don't know.
You heard it here first. Nerdy Tenor is all in on Kyle Pitts in Week 1 NFL DFS.
Yeah,
that's gonna be the title of my video.
I might check the tape just to be sure.
All right, so we have it set up.
Now you can just do.
We have all 100% undrafted guys, and probably one of the most chalky stacks, and one of the most chalky bringbacks.
So now you can just.
We are pretty heavily incentivized to scroll with our final two picks. Brian, would you like to nominate a scroll?
I don't really have one off the top of my head. Just looking at these studs.
It's just embarrassing how much this man doesn't know ball.
Everyone
in the chat, this is who your DraftKings money goes to. This guy who's gonna paint his nails on Sunday and doesn't know who Tony Pollard plays for.
Tennessee.
Wow, you only know that because we did it 2 days ago.
It's right in front of my face too, but
it is right in front of you.
I did know he was on him and Spears.
What did your Sims intuit about the quarterback double stacks? Because we could do that.
So
He said already, like it's roughly
It was-
15% as of now.
as
Okay.
of now. But that number may come down, and
It
it's
may
a little.
go up.
I would say it's either going to stay where it is or going to go down, and I'll explain. Well, actually, I won't explain. It has to do with how the whole thing is engineered.
I'm going to do a huge scroll. One huge scroll. Zach Moss. All right, now we got to take a wide receiver. We could take one of the Texans guys, so we could do the double stack, or we can scroll.
I'd probably do the double stack, but I don't know. Dunze's
Yeah.
just sitting there staring us in the face.
He's just staring. This is unlisted player.
Nice.
Dunze would be unlisted player. What do you think, Dan?
Sure.
It's only 60 cents an EV.
I'm gonna do the double.
You're gonna double it.
I'm gonna do the double. That's gotta be combinatorially unique enough. All right, guys.
So we're hoping for just absolute insane.
We're hoping
Houston score.
Stroud throws 330 yards and 4 touchdowns, 2 to Nico, 2 to Dell, and Jonathan Taylor scores 2 touchdowns on the other side of the game to keep it competitive.
Right. So that needs to be a high scoring game.
It needs to be a high scoring
Oh,
game.
yeah.
Very high scoring game. Master has spoken. Yeah, here we go.
There we go. The master of EV. I'm gonna grant this team in a $5 contest with 10% rake. I'm gonna grant this team $2.17 of expected value.
$50,000.
50,000 more EV than is in the
Somehow
contest. Larger
wins first and second and third.
Well, you got to factor in the rake
Yes.
back.
Oh, that's right.
All right, guys, that was a fun little stream. Tell
That
the
was
people if they enjoyed all of that, how they can learn more sim, how they can learn more fake ball at endgamesyndicate.com.
Yeah,
we
we got
have-
a lot of videos up.
We got a bunch of videos on the stuff we were just talking about. So yeah, a lot of GTO videos, best ball, DFS. You could see nerdies typing in action, on these videos. We also Utica does no ball videos on there. Shipment Money's got some videos. Right now we're just training videos, but hopefully we'll add some stuff in the future. And draftcaddy.com, Davis, which is the most best ball relevant thing we got. We're definitely gonna add ownership on there. We talked about this last stream. I think we can automate that. I'm talking with our coder right now, actually. And then spreads and totals should be on there today. If you want to look at the spreads and totals of the game. And maybe Dan can feed us some info eventually, like equilibrium ownership percentages or something like that. If you could pull that off, that'd be sweet to show on there. Like projected ownership versus equilibrium ownership.
Yeah.
That would be extremely useful.
Yeah.
That's all I
right.
got.
I just got to see whether my Shodan stuff even runs today. I got stuff to do.
I'm gonna do that right after this.
Yeah, we are gonna get out of here. Make sure you're checking out Endgame Syndicate. We will Bric, there's functionality for Battle Royale for the Draft Caddy, correct?
Yes.
All right, there you go.
And,
I just didn't have it displayed right in my window, but I will update that this afternoon.
Yeah. I think you're a version behind too.
I probably am a version behind. Guys, please check out the DFS Week 1 video that I did with Jacob Sanderson. If you're getting to the end of this, remember to comment on the video on the Davis Mattek YouTube channel for your equity in the 5% giveaway. Patreon.com/Davis Mattek for all the premium fantasy football content. And I will be back with y'all tomorrow for the Pick'em video. Later, everybody.